at 12:29 a.m.
Hi, my name is Britney Spears. I called you earlier, but I'm calling again because I just wanted to make sure during the process of ending the conservatorship that my father threatened several times that, he'll take my children away.
Hi there. I cannot disclose who I am. An attorney that worked with Britney's conservatorship. I am no longer with them. And what is happening is disturbing, to say the least.
This woman has been through so much.
I'm a Sagittarius. I'm very keen on freedom. I love freedom. I love independence.
She's a human being, and her rights have been unjustly taken from her.
It is absolutely unprecedented.
There should be I shouldn't be going in a conservatorship if I work and provide. Married and have a baby. I was told right now.
We're not only going to free Britney, but we are going to reform these laws. We are going to fix this broken system. There's no oversight into conservatorships. We need to keep an eye on them, because in something that really kind of blew me away that Britney said was she knows, she's done her research, and she knows there are thousands of conservatorship victims out there. Like, she is smart, and I think that the attention on her case will hopefully open people's eyes to the fact that this could happen to you or me or our family members. If you have some money and someone wants it, they can pretty much conserve you. It's way too easy to do.
This is just, it's unbelievable to me that this has been able to go on this long. But anyway, the circus tour, let's get back to that. The circus tour, it was a huge tour. It was a 4-leg, 100-show tour with extensive props and circus acts and costumes and dance numbers, and like there was a lot where it was dangerous almost. Take a look at this. And there's a video out there actually that I saw. I got that clip from this video. I will link it down below also, but it is Britney's most dangerous moments on stage, and you can see where like the harness wasn't on right, or the little tiny thing she was in flying high like was in like not secure and sliding, and she even looks scared. And but she can do all that. She can mentally prepare herself to be thrown in the air and be 100 feet above a burning ring of fire on a wobbly like little stand. I can't think of the word, but if she falls, she'll fall down into a ring of fire and burn alive. I mean, she can do that, and she can mentally prepare herself to do that, but she can't make any decisions, and she's not allowed to have a phone. During the rehearsals for the circus tour is when Britney obtained a cell phone, and I believe this is the time she obtained the cell phone from Sam Lutfi's sister. I know one other time she obtained a cell phone from a paparazzi friend, so I'm not sure which one was which, but she did obtain a cell phone during the rehearsals for the circus tour, and she called attorney John Eardley. Remember the guy that her dad's lawyers lied in court and said she didn't even know who he was? Yeah, that guy. She called him. and she used this She used this phone to call attorney John Eardley, and here's the voicemail that she left him.
Hi, my name's Britney Spears. I called you earlier, but I'm calling again because I just wanted to make sure during the process of ending the conservatorship that my father threatened me several times that, he'll take my children away. I just want to be guaranteed that everything will be fine with the process of you guys taking care of everything and things just being the same as far as my custodial home. That's it. Bye.
Okay, so it breaks my heart. It breaks my heart hearing these voicemails. Gosh. Okay, but anyway, John Eardley, he tried to help again. He decided to challenge the probate court's decision to appoint Samuel Ingham and force Britney to use him. Like last time he tried to move it to the federal level, that didn't work. So this time he decided to challenge the probate court's decision and Judge Reva Goat's decision to force Britney to use Samuel Ingham. So he tried that. Now John Eardley contacted John Anderson, who was another attorney, and they worked together to do that. Well, Sam Lutfi was supposed to sneak the petition for Britney to sign it somehow and then sneak it back to the lawyers. I mean, this is absolutely insane. She's literally a prisoner. So Britney's dad then spoke to John Anderson, the person who was supposed to be helping John Eardley, and Britney's dad told him that John Eardley already tried to get the case moved to the federal level and was denied, and Britney lacked the capacity to retain counsel at all anyway. So John Anderson just, listened to Britney's dad and decided not to file the petition. Sorry guys. And he wanted no further involvement in the matter, and nothing was done to help Britney. 3 days later, Britney's dad, of course, files a restraining order against John Eardley, the attorney who is trying to help her. Just restraining orders, you guys, flying out left and right for anybody who tries to help Britney. We also have testimony from Britney's cousin and also her former housekeeper saying that Jamie told them not to have any further contact with Britney and not to ever answer her calls if she ever does call them. He also threatened them, and her cousin Allie said that he threatened her life. He actually threatened her life, and she said that she regrets it now, but he told her not to ever have any further contact with Britney and not to answer the calls if she calls. And she said that she regrets it now, but she said every time Britney called and she saw that Britney was calling, it just broke her heart to not answer the phone. And I don't know if I'd be able to do that. I would probably still answer the phone. I wouldn't be able to not just cut her off and not talk to her knowing what they were doing to her. I don't want anybody, I don't want to say anything bad about her. That's not what I'm saying. I just don't personally think I would be able to do that. I don't know. Anyway, nevertheless, Jamie's attorney testified saying that Britney did not know John Eardley and did not want him as her attorney again, and the judge granted the restraining order against John Eardley for 3 years. It's insane. So, Britney's dad did tell her that if she finished the circus tour, then he would end the conservatorship. He basically told her, and Britney said that in her testimony on July 14th. She said that she was told several times by them, if you do this, if you do that, we will end the conservatorship. And she said every time they made her go through these extensive psychological tests, and they never let her out anyway. And that's why she doesn't want to be evaluated again now, and she just wants let out. And I think she should, because they never evaluated her to put her in this. There's never been any any hearing or any kind of medical document or diagnosis or anything to put her in this, so why do they have to do all these tests to get her out of this? So she did the circus tour, and she did her very best, thinking and hoping that her father would live up to his word and let her out of the conservatorship. But, of course, he didn't do that. After the circus tour, she started promoting her new album, or her new single 3, and her greatest hits album, and she was also on an episode of Glee at this time as well. And like I said, her dad did not live up to his word in the conservatorship. In fact, on September 30th of that year, Judge Reva Goetz ruled that Andrew Wallet and her father Jamie would continue to have control over her finances and full control over her personal life, and the conservatorship was deemed permanent, no longer temporary. You could only imagine, like somebody telling you, like taking all your rights, and you're literally a prisoner, and you have this narcissistic, abusive drunk being your conservator and not letting you do anything, and dangling the custody of your kids and seeing your babies in your face by, I'll reward you to see your babies if you do what I want and give me all that money. And then the judge turns around and says, this is permanent now. This is your life forever. Like, Britney is stronger than anyone has ever given her credit for, you guys. Oh my God. But after this, she seems so incredibly sad. She had no time to even process her emotions, and her team just started pushing her already to make her 7th studio album, Femme Fatale. But soon after that, her lawyers did give the courts papers from her doctors saying that her mental health had improved dramatically. So that was good, but of course it did nothing to help. At this time, articles started surfacing showing a bunch of pictures of Britney crying, and people started wondering why Britney was so sad, but her team immediately hurried up and tried to fix that and do damage control and started a huge press tour to promote her new album. And of course it worked, and people just stopped asking questions why she was so sad and just was hyped about her new album coming out. Woohoo! Around this time, when they were doing the press tour, people started noticing just how incredibly controlling Britney's team actually was. This is when Carson Daly put this Twitter thread on his Twitter, and let's take a look. Okay, Carson said, I was just told my Britney Spears interview tomorrow on whatever show that was must be pre-recorded and submitted for approval by her management before it can even air. F that. Said never that restricted. Even when I interviewed Michael Jackson, it wasn't anything like this. It's really insane. And now somebody said, oh my God, thanks so much. Now drag Carson Daly, unprofessional asshole. And then he said, I'm unprofessional, faking an entire interview. And he then said, just shocked her management won't let her do a normal interview. She probably doesn't even know. So all of the questions had to be submitted to her team and her father for approval first. Interviews had to be pre-recorded and submitted for approval. You can definitely tell that her team, like during this time, you can definitely tell that her team was worried about something. They didn't want her to speak up about anything. Sam Lutfi had also sued Jamie and Lynn Spears for defamation of character. Basically for telling everybody that Sam drugged Britney, that he was cutting her phone lines, he was trying to take control over her life. And all those accusations that they were throwing at him, he sued them for defamation of character. Not only that, but Sam also decided to sue Britney herself as well. He was seeking compensation from when he was her manager in the 2007 era. He actually sued Britney a few years ago, but the conservatorship was able to block Britney from testifying against Sam by saying that it would be dangerous for her mental health. Now, Sam and his lawyer said that the conservators were using a statute that was meant for the elderly and mentally impaired to protect a singer who was on tour. But in that femme fatale era, Britney was doing so well that Sam used this in courts to force her to testify. So Sam wanted Britney to testify, so he asked the courts to order a psychiatric evaluation on Britney to prove that she was okay to testify. Sam even ordered his own psychiatric evaluation of the femme fatale press tour, and he used the UCLA assistant professor of psychiatry, Joshua Pretsky. Now, Joshua is quoted saying, quote, "In the Ryan Seacrest interview, Britney is interviewed at length, and she responds logically and coherently to questions, evidencing logical thinking and mental competency. The edited interviews in the MTV video documentary also evidence coherent and logical thinking, responsiveness to questions, and mental competence. In my opinion, there is cause to conduct an independent medical examination to investigate the conservator's claims that Ms. Spears is not mentally capable of testifying, and the claim that she was not mentally competent to enter into a binding contract." So her dad, Jamie, was trying to say that she was not mentally competent to testify. He did not want her testifying, and he was also saying that she was not mentally competent to enter into a binding contract, because Sam was like her manager and he wanted his money for being her manager, but they didn't want to pay him, I guess. So they were trying to say that she wasn't mentally competent during that time to enter into a contract with Sam Lutfi, is what they were saying. Anyway, so this Joshua Pretsky guy testifying and saying this was literally threatening the livelihood of this conservatorship. Now, that's not the only lawsuit that Britney had around that period in time. There was also another lawsuit around the same time with a company called Bransense and Elizabeth Arden. So basically, Bransense set Britney up with Elizabeth Arden, a company who would distribute her perfume. Now, for that, Bransense was supposed to get 35%. Well, Lou Taylor and Jamie Spears, being the sneaky snakes that they are, decided to go behind Bransense's back and make a secret deal with Elizabeth Arden and completely cut out Bransense. So Bransense introduced Britney, and they were going to hook Britney up with Elizabeth Arden, and she was going to distribute Britney's perfume. And for the hookup, Bransense was supposed to get 35%. But Lou Taylor and Jamie, of course, went behind Bransense's back and made a secret deal with Elizabeth Arden, ultimately cutting Bransense completely out. I mean, jeez, you guys, you would think at this point they are so rich off of enslaving Britney that they would not pull this kind of stupid shit. But yet they feel that they just need to be snakes and cut out people and scam people still. Like, they're just completely despicable, you guys. But anyways, in this lawsuit, Bransense wanted to question Britney under oath about what she knew, and the conservators used the same thing, saying that Britney was mentally incompetent, but Bransense called them out on this, saying, quote, "This is a sham. Miss Spears currently has the mental, emotional, and physical capacity to endure the strain of a months-long international concert tour, make numerous public appearances, engage in interviews with the media, participate in numerous promotional campaigns for her various business enterprises, and maintain custody of her children." End quote. I mean, yeah, I agree with them. But if they did this and the court deemed Britney competent, then that would ruin everything, right? The whole thing is set up for Britney to say that Britney is not competent. So if the court says she's competent to go on trial, then she's obviously mentally competent. So that would ruin everything. So they could not allow that to happen. They could not allow Britney to testify. So, of course, they settled. Oh, yes, they settled with Branson's, and they settled quick. And they didn't even try to negotiate at all. They paid Branson's every penny that they were asking for. They didn't even try to negotiate, which, that should say something. I kind of think about it sometimes, and I'm like, man, I hope that these companies like Branson's and like Carson Daly and everybody doesn't think that Britney is like an asshole. You know, because like the conservators just make her look like such an asshole. Like they're doing all this shitty, shady shit, and then when they get called out on it, they're like, oh no, Britney can't testify, she's mentally incompetent. And I wonder if they are thinking that maybe Britney was using this to get out of testifying. Like, no, dude, she would love to testify. She would love to show that she's competent so she can get out of this. I mean, maybe at the time, I would just hope that they didn't think that Britney was an asshole, because it wasn't her. None of it was her. It was all them, always. So, okay, let's keep this moving. Britney at this time was with Jason Trawick. He proposed to her and she accepted, so they were engaged now. But she, of course, can't get married while she is in this conservatorship. More on that later. But at the same time, Britney was also approached by the X Factor to be a judge on X Factor. And with that would come a $15 million yearly salary, you guys. $15 million yearly salary to be a judge on X Factor. Now, we all know that, of course, her dad could not turn that one down, but he needed the permission of the courts first. So the judge decided that she wanted to talk to Britney in her chambers alone to see if Britney could handle something like this and to see if it was something that Britney wanted to do. So Britney spoke with Judge Reva Goetz, and the judge said that she was, quote, impressed with Britney and her progress. I love how the judge spoke with her face to face and saw how amazing and how mentally competent that she was doing all the way back in, this was in 2012, you guys, but she still did not do a damn thing to free her at all. Love that. But nonetheless, of course, the judge approved Britney to be on the show. But Jason Trawick wanted to be an executive producer on the show. And I think he wanted to be an executive producer on the show so he could completely watch Britney like a hawk at all times. They needed someone. Like, the conservatorship had this little, like, inner circle of trusted people that they had kept around Britney at all times. So, like, they always had to have somebody watching Britney at all times. And in that inner circle was now Jason Trawick. Jason, I can't speak right now. In this inner circle was Jason Trawick. So I think that they couldn't just have Jason hanging around on the set at all times. And when they were live, like, they couldn't have Jason, like, just hanging behind her. So they made him, like, an executive producer on the show so that he could watch her every move. And I wonder if they did this because it was a live show. So, like, if she spoke out of turn, Jason, and said something about it, Jason could hurry up and pull a plug or something. I'm just wondering. I'm just saying. I don't know. Okay, so the year is 2012. Britney told her psychiatrist and her court-appointed lawyer, Samuel Ingham, that she had had enough and she was, quote, ready to go at it alone, end quote. She wanted the conservatorship lifted, and this was back in 2012. Now, recently, Samuel Ingham said, recently Britney said that she did not know that she could petition to end the conservatorship. But as her court-appointed counsel, Samuel Ingham is supposed to do whatever she wants to do. And she reportedly told him all the way back in 2012 that she wanted the conservatorship lifted and she was ready to go at it alone. Now, with his oath, with his oath, he is supposed to do whatever the client asks. And she asked to end the conservatorship and have it lifted 9 years ago, and he did not lift a finger to do that. So, yeah. Because some people were like, well, did she ever ask? Well, yeah. It was reported that she said this in 2012. Now, anyways, her doctor, of course, said that she was, quote, not ready. Her conservators did say that she had come a long way, especially in the last 18 months, but they needed more time. Of course they did. They needed more time to line their pockets. Allegedly. Okay, my camera died, you guys. I'm sorry. At least I have an extra battery. But anyway, so Jason Trawick, he then became Britney's co-conservator. So Jason would be around Britney 24/7 and would be able to control every aspect of her day-to-day life. I don't know about you, but I would never, ever want anyone that I was in a relationship to control me and be able to literally, actually, by law, control me. That would be so awful. I could not even imagine, like, oh my god, what if they, like, what if how her dad is, like, making her do what he wants by, like, dangling her kids in front of him? What if, this is kind of bad, but, like, it's just a thought, like, that person you're in a relationship with could demand, like, my baby's having a sneezing fit. All my animals are sneezing. What's going on? I'm sorry. What if the guy you're in a relationship with demands, like, sex or something? And if you didn't feel like doing it, then they would not let you, like, go to the store or get your coffee. I guarantee that's happened somewhere before. Oh my god. That is awful. That would be considered, wouldn't it? I don't even want to, makes me so mad. So anyway, the Daily Mail reported that Jason and Jamie worked together to control Britney and to limit her internet access, and if she needed to make a call or send a text or anything like that, she needed to use Jason's phone so he could monitor her calls and texts and all forms of communication with anyone. Ew. Can you guys believe, can you imagine that? If your boyfriend, your fiance was your conservator and he literally wouldn't allow you to have a phone, and if you ever had to make a call or anything, you had to use his phone so he could monitor it, and he limited your internet access and monitored your internet access. Could you guys imagine? Oh my god. Okay, so let's keep it moving here. Sam Lutfi tried to get Britney to testify in his case yet again, this time using her new job as a judge on the X Factor as evidence of her being mentally competent. And of course, Judge Reva Goetz signed off on it, saying that it would cause Britney irreparable damage to her mental health to testify under oath, even though she just had Britney in her chambers and talking to her at length and said that she was impressed by how well she was doing. But then Judge Reva Goetz said that Jason Trawick, a man who was not even there, could testify on Britney's behalf for her. What? I've never even heard of that. Like, allowing someone to testify on behalf of someone else in a trial? I've never heard of ever heard of that. Okay, now Britney did such an amazing job on X Factor, and she said she had an amazing time, but she was ready to get back to performing. Now, I don't know if Britney said this or her dad said this, I don't know. But as soon as she left the X Factor, her engagement to Jason Trawick was called off. And he was no longer her co-conservator either. They did take him off as her co-conservator, thank God. I would hate that. I just see that as something that they would do. Make her literally have an ex-boyfriend as a conservator. But anyway, they took him off. So let's go ahead and get to Britney's Las Vegas residency era. Now, Britney got this amazing Las Vegas residency and was doing an amazing high production 96 shows. Each show was like 100 minutes in length. There was about 4,600 tickets per show. It was an amazing contract for Britney, and it was an amazing show. Now, this is when Britney got with her boyfriend, David Lucado. Now, unlike Jason Trawick, David seemed to want nothing to do with controlling Britney, which is great. Him and Britney then spoke of marriage and having children, but he did express to Britney that not only for them to get married and have children, not only did the Las Vegas residency have to be over, but he said that he also wanted the conservatorship to be ended as well. Now, this statement right here instantly made David and his relationship with Britney Jamie's #1 enemy. Jamie had to do something. So only a week after the article was published with David saying about the conservatorship needing to end, Jamie went to his trusted friends at TMZ and bought a video of David supposedly cheating on Britney for a pretty penny. I heard that he spent a lot of money on this video. So Jamie called Britney over, he had her come over and he showed her the video. After Britney saw the video, she immediately broke up with David. Now, David did say that that video was taken during a period him and Britney were actually split up, but then Britney said that they only were split up for like a day or something, so I mean, that'd still be kind of crappy. But Jamie said that he bought the video and showed it to Britney to shield her from the embarrassment if the public would see it. But after that, he decided to give all the details to TMZ anyway. Nice, huh? But David did do an interview a few years later and said, he did say that, quote, "If anyone knew the real Britney, they would know that she would rather be remembered for the great mother that she is instead of a great artist. If anyone could see the interactions with her kids, they would know there is no need for a conservatorship of her person." End quote. After Britney's breakup with David, she launched her lingerie line, and it did very well, and she also announced that she may be extending her residency in Vegas for a few more years. After that, Britney got into a relationship with Charlie Ebersol. It seems like Jamie actually set Charlie Ebersol up with Britney after he pitched Charlie a TV show. Okay. He also made Charlie sign an NDA before he even met Britney. Okay. Right around this time is when Britney did a collaboration with Iggy Azalea. And Iggy had this to say.
Yeah, nothing weird.
Nothing weird.
She actually, they came and like checked my place to make sure I like wasn't trying to like stash anything weird and like give it to her or something.
Give her
and then
something
I was like,
weird?
It's just salad.
Right.
So I'm glad she liked it.
Wait, Britney had advanced people come scope out the place?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, to make sure I wasn't like a bad influencer.
Wow.
And I'm not. I passed the test.
Wow, they scrubbed your place.
They didn't scrub it. They just came and yeah, they were very nice.
Wow.
I was like, I promise, I'm not going to do anything bad. I just want to have lunch.
Right.
Yeah. I had a lot of other like chicken.
Did they remove anything from your house?
No, I mean, I didn't do anything weird.
After Britney's explosive testimony on June 23rd, Iggy Azalea actually came out again, and she had this to say as well.
Wednesday, June 30th, Iggy described her own firsthand experience of the same alleged behavior Britney discussed in a court hearing on June 23rd, writing, "She is not exaggerating or lying. I saw her restricted from even the most bizarre and trivial things, like how many sodas she was allowed to drink." She continued, "Her father conveniently waited until literally moments before our BBMA's performance when I was backstage in the dressing room and told me if I did not sign an NDA, he would not allow me on stage. The way he went about getting me to sign a contract sounded similar to the tactics Britney spoke about last week in regards to her Las Vegas show. Statement adding, Jamie Spears has a habit of making people sign documents while under duress, it seems, and Britney Spears should not be forced to coexist with that man when she's made it clear it is negatively impacting her mental health. This is not right at all.
Okay, unfortunately in conservatorships there are several clauses in the entire statute that a judge can have the final say on. A judge can pick and choose what they want to do and they will have the final say. That is why some conservatives can do certain things and other conservatives cannot. Britney just being in a probate conservatorship should show everyone how easily the California probate court can be manipulated into benefiting anyone that they want it to. That is why after we free Britney, we need to continue to fight to fix this probate court and see that the laws are changed, because it is absolutely awful. And if it can happen to Britney, it's happened to a lot of other people, I'm sure. So soon after this is when Judge Reva Goetz, the honorable, horrible, whatever, Judge Reva Goetz retired, and this is when Judge Brenda Penny was assigned to Britney's case. Now, one of Judge Brenda Penny's first wonderful, amazing decisions that she made was to cancel the oversight hearing for Britney's conservatorship for 2 years.
Seriously, what the fuck are you doing?
Really? You just came into this case and that's the first thing you're going to do? Now these meetings, these oversight hearings are incredibly important to the conservatorship, because these meetings are the ones that take a look at the bank balances and hold all the members of the conservatorship accountable for their finances. So it looks into all of the accounts, all of her money, and it holds the conservators accountable for their finances and what they've been spending the estate's money on and everything like that. And the first decision for Judge Brenda Penny was to cancel this oversight hearing for 2 years straight. It gave Team Conservatorship a large bridge to slip right under, and they didn't have to be held accountable for anything that they were doing. Now, around this time, Sam Lutfi is trying to get Britney to testify in his case again. He is still trying to get her to testify. But this time, the conservators actually let her do it. Now, a lot of people think that the only reason why they let Britney testify is because they had a brand new judge on the case, and if they tried to paint Britney as this incredibly fragile person, she might look around and be like, well, why is she touring and working and doing this and that? So it might have brought up a lot of questions that Team Conservator didn't want to answer, so they just went ahead and let her testify. They did agree, but they said the only holdout they had was that Sam Lutfi could not be in the room with Britney. But, of course, the courts denied that because, you can't make up your own rules. Sam's allowed to, confront his accuser, whatever. It's a right. It's some kind of right. I don't remember. It's a right that he has, anyway. But, yeah, you can't make your own rules. So they denied that, and Britney was in the room with Sam Lutfi for the first time since 2008, testifying against him. So Britney was in the room with Sam Lutfi testifying for almost 4 hours. She was totally cool, totally calm, even snacking on a cookie, it said in an article. She seemed perfectly fine and very, very mentally competent. She was responding to questions. She was thinking logically. She seemed very competent. Now, her being able to testify when Team Conservatorship spent years acting like she was too fragile, and her testifying and doing a great job, that made a lot of people start to question if she even needs this conservatorship anymore. So in May 2016, the New York Times put out an article about Britney and her conservatorship, asking why an adult woman and a mother who has been completely stable for many years was still completely restricted from making even the most basic of decisions for herself. Now, this article questioned everyone in the conservatorship, like Sam Ingham, her supposed lawyer who made millions of dollars by now from her, And it questioned all the doctors, all the psychiatrists who all could easily could have helped Britney in the conservatorship but chose not to. And they benefited, all these people benefited immensely by keeping her enslaved in this thing. So this article was really important, and it came out in 2016. Now, Britney came out with her next album, Glory, after that, and she seemed extremely proud of this project. Everyone even commented on how Britney seemed more involved in this album than she had since her Blackout album, which makes a lot of sense because her Blackout album was with Sam Lutfi, and she had creative control over that, and she hasn't had any creative control since then, so she's probably just, you know, doing it. But they said that this album, Glory, Britney seemed more in tune, like more there, and seemed more like into it than any album since her Blackout one. She also said she was more hands-on with this album, and she said even her son named this album. And she just seemed really genuinely happy with this album, and she said that she made this particular album for her fans. But during the press tour for this album, Britney did the unthinkable. She went on the Jonathan Ross show and brought up the conservatorship for the first time since 2008 for the record. And she brought it up herself. He didn't even ask her about it. I mean, this was huge. I mean, really, she didn't really even say anything bad, but her dad and team conservator completely freaked out and punished her severely. Britney actually said, quote, "Yeah, okay, so I have this conservatorship that I've been under this conservatorship for years, and I felt like a lot of my decisions were made for me. So I wanted this to be my baby, and I have been really strategic about it," end quote. She also said in this that she was getting control of things little by little. She was getting control back of things little by little. And I guess this time, I wasn't there, but audience members say at this time the host looked completely terrified that she was even speaking about this. He immediately changed the topic, and the show, that whole part was edited out of the show, but the audience members said that Britney really looked like she wanted to talk about the conservatorship. So Britney even saying that just freaked Jamie out. That was it for Jamie. It absolutely, literally put the fear of God into him. He had to make sure that Britney never ever spoke out of turn again. So him and Team Conservatorship completely isolated Britney even more than she already was before. She had no more media, no more interviews, no more going out in public at all. She was only allowed to perform her Vegas show, and even then she was extremely, very, very closely monitored by the conservators' trusted team. She was completely hidden from the public for an entire year. I mean, how dare she speak out, you know? That is why I swear, you guys, I am worried about her safety right now because of her court testimony. But honestly, I think there's so many eyes on everything right now. I think Britney is, I hope Britney is safe. Just because the whole world heard that and there's so many eyes on it, I think that she's okay. And if she just happens to disappear to a mental health facility again, I think everybody would know what's going on. So I hope she's okay. So after this, Britney then decides she wants to take her Las Vegas Piece of Me show on the road. She wants to go perform in countries that she's never performed in before. So she goes to Israel, and when she goes to Israel, she does an interview, and she says, quote, "My life was controlled by many people, and that doesn't really let you be yourself. In that situation, when you're not in control, the excitement fades, and there is less passion when it comes to music. I wrote that I was lost and didn't know what to do with myself. Back then, I was trying to please everyone around me because that is who I am deep inside." End quote. They asked her what she did wrong in her 20s, and she said, quote, "I think I should have given myself more breaks in my career and taken responsibility for my mental health. There were many decisions that were made for me that I did not make myself." End quote. So I don't know. I've heard that when Britney goes to other countries, she has a little bit more freedom to speak, I think. Like, I don't know if they're not there to watch her, or they're just not afraid that, like, the people over here in this country will hear it. I'm not sure. After her shows that she did in Israel and the other countries on her little summer break tour that she did for her fans, she announced that she will be doing a new Las Vegas residency, and the new show will be called Domination. As opening night approached, Britney actually canceled the show, saying that her father was hospitalized for a ruptured colon and that he almost died.
Britney Spears cancels her Las Vegas residency show due to a family crisis.
Announcement from Britney Spears. The singer has put her Las Vegas residency called Domination on hold, and she's taking an indefinite hiatus from work. She had posted a throwback pic of her parents on social media and explained the reason for her decision, saying, a quote, "A couple of months ago, my father was hospitalized and almost died."
The singer shares the news in an Instagram post, writing, "I don't even know where to start with this, because this is so tough for me to say. I will not be performing my new show, Domination.
We're all so grateful he came out alive, but he still has a long road ahead of him.
I've been looking forward to this show and seeing all of you this year, so doing this breaks my heart. However, it's important to always put your family first, and that's the decision I had to make." She adds, "A couple of months ago, my father was hospitalized and almost died. We're all so grateful that he came out of it alive, but he still has a long road ahead of him."
Hi there. I cannot disclose who I am. I just heard the latest episode. You guys are onto something. I used to be a paralegal for an attorney that worked with Britney's conservatorship. I am no longer with them. And what is happening is disturbing, to say the least. So, basically, Britney was in rehearsals for Domination. It came to Jamie's attention, Jamie Spears, that Britney was not taking her medication as prescribed. She was missing a lot of doses and just full on not taking them. So they got her to the doctor. The doctor said, "Okay, if you don't want these medications, let's get you on a new one." Well, she refused to take the new one. So Jamie said, "Either you take this medication or the show's off, and I'm pulling my support and you can't do it." Britney did not follow Jamie's instructions, and so he was true to his word. He pulled the show. He verbatim said, "Blame it on my illness." And that's when we get the early January Instagram. Fast forward a couple days, Britney's still not following through with her medication. And as you guys have mentioned, she is seen with Sam driving. A big no-no on, it's a big rule that she broke. Britney has been in the mental facility since mid-January. Of course, the statement yesterday said she entered last week. That is not true. She's been in there since mid-January, and there is no timeline. Granted, I've been gone. I haven't worked at the company or at the firm for about a little over 2 weeks now, but there is no end, particularly in sight, for this stay at this mental facility to end. She did not want to go. She, I of course, I'm just a paralegal. I haven't had any contact with her, but from what I understand, this was not a decision she made at all.
So basically, this guy said that Britney didn't take her medicine, so her dad pulled the show and threw her into a mental health facility, and basically said, quote, "Blame it on my health." I personally don't think Jamie ever had any health issues or ruptured colon or anything like that, but maybe he did, I don't know. That is what everybody thought for a long time, But then the actual real story, not the health, not his health, not her not taking her meds and blah blah blah. The real story came out when Britney testified on June 23rd. She cleared things up for everybody on this situation. She actually said that it was not about her medication at all. She said that's just what everyone made up. She refused to do a certain dance move, and she was tired and nervous for the show, and someone on her team said that you can quit the show if you want to, and she said, yes, I want to, it's just too much, and they said, okay, that's fine. Okay, fine. No problem, okay. Next thing she knew, her psychiatrist was saying that he got hundreds of emails and calls about how she was being not complying, she was non-complying, and she was not taking her medication. And she said she had no idea what he was talking about, and her meds were taken, or her meds were given to her every morning by a nurse, and they watched her take it, so she didn't even know what people were talking about. But basically they just made all of that up to punish her for not wanting to do that dance move and not wanting to do the show, I guess. So they locked her, or they put her on lithium, and they then locked her up again. And Jamie said to, quote, blame it on his health. Her being in the facility and the show being canceled, just blame it all on his health. Okay, so this is where everything starts to completely unravel for Team Conservatorship. So I think this will be a good place to stop. I know there was a lot of information in here. I know this video is probably a lot longer than I wanted it to be. I'm really sorry. I'm going to try and make it as short as I can, but I really appreciate you guys watching. If you guys made it to the end, thank you guys so much. I appreciate it so much. The next video, I think I will start from where we left off here and go all the way until June 23rd when Britney speaks out, because after that I have been covering all of that pretty closely, so I don't want to put it all again in another video. I mean, so that's what part 3 will be about. So thank you guys so much for watching this video. Again, if you guys liked it, please give it a thumbs up. I really appreciate it. It helps so much. And if you guys could leave a comment down below as well, I would appreciate that so much as well. It'll help get the video pushed through the YouTube algorithm, which I think is really important because I want everybody to know exactly how they did this and what they've done to her. So if you guys have not subscribed to my channel yet, please do so. You know you want to. I would love to have you guys in the family, and make sure you hit that bell so you get all notifications every time I upload another video. And that is everything, you guys. So I really hope to see you guys in my next video. And remember, guys, in a world where you can be anything, please be kind. Love you guys. Bye.